Good morning, everyone. We'll give a minute for folks to get into the webinar. I see some folks are starting to get in now, so we'll give it a minute here. Thanks for waiting with us. As we're getting in, I suppose I could introduce myself and get us started here. My name is Anique Petit. I'm a Senior Director with Academic Alliances here at ASU. And Academic Alliances is a pretty cool department. We really serve as a liaison to community colleges specifically for the university, between the university and community colleges, between the university and industry that involves community colleges, all kinds of fun stuff. So I have some fantastic co-presenters today. They'll introduce themselves as they start their sessions. Here they are. You can see them here on the screen. So you can see who you'll be hearing from today. Everybody from co-workers within Academic Alliances to fantastic co-workers within admissions and from Ed Plus, which is ASU Online, as well as Academic Transfer Credit Solutions, W.P. Carey School of Business, and Watts College of Public Service and Community Solutions. So we're really excited to have them with us today to talk a little bit about some new programs that they offer. We will start off with Universal Articulation Partnership. Some of you may know the gentleman that will be presenting for us first, Patrick Emmons. Then we'll roll on to My Path to ASU and enrollment data as it looks from a national perspective, and then move on to partnership marketing and engagement and ATCS, the ASU colleges who have some great news to share, and then we will use the last half hour as a refresher training on My Path to ASU for anyone who is maybe new to your community colleges and needs a refresh or has been there for a bit and needs a refresher on all of the fantastic transfer tools that we have here at ASU. So with that, I'd like to start off with the reason why we're all in our jobs, which is students. We have a short story here, a brand new micro testimonial from a student, I believe from California. So why don't we start there and then I'll pass it off to Patrick.
My name is Madison Davis. I transferred from Pasadena City College. I live in Koreatown and I am taking classes through ASU Local in Los Angeles. So during COVID is when I started going back to classes at Pasadena City College, and they kind of helped me see that I wanted to pursue a degree. Originally, what caught my eye about ASU was their sustainability major and their College of Global Futures. After exploring the website and what they stood for and how they're trying to innovate education, I hadn't seen anything like that. My goal is to bring sustainability and entertainment together. I love theater and I love arts and cultures. I love analyzing all of that, and I think that sciences and arts can come together, and sustainability is that new frontier of how do we ensure a future that doesn't take away from our present. My advice to transfer students looking at ASU is that you can literally create whatever you want with your college experience. And you don't have to be limited by what other people have done or what other people are saying college is supposed to be. This is a totally different ballgame, and you get to play how you want.
And that's from our College of Global Futures, which is one of our really cool colleges we have here. So with that, I will pass it off to Patrick Emmons.
Awesome. Thank you, Anique. Good morning, everyone. If we have not had the opportunity to meet yet, my name is Patrick Emmons. I'm a program manager here as part of our national partnerships team within the Office of Academic Alliances. And I'm just going to provide a brief overview of what we're doing here through our Universal Articulation Agreement and how it's impacting what we're calling the national transfer problem. So I'm actually not sure if you're aware of this, but the Community College Research Center just posted this past February an update to a study that they've been doing since 2007. And essentially what they've found is that transfer student success is still significantly low. In fact, only 16% of students who are starting out a community college will eventually graduate with a bachelor's degree within 6 years. So if you take 100 new students every semester, 80 of them have the intention to transfer, only 29 make the transfer, and of those 29, only 16 graduate. So a success rate of 16%. And that's failing, if you ask me. You use 16% in any metric, in any other industry, and they would say you're failing. And so I'm happy to share that what we're doing here at ASU, as I've heard from many partners, is pretty unique and different from what other institutions are doing differently. And I'm happy to share that our students are graduating and are being more successful compared to peers not using our programs. And so on the next slide, we can see a brief overview that through the last 3 years, we actually have signed over 202 to be exact, universal articulation partners across the United States. They exist in 28 states, and myself and my team are working really hard to continue to sign every institution that we can to better serve students, because through this partnership, we're able to create, as I'm sure you're aware, the most accurate and up-to-date course articulations between your institutions and ASU. And so we're really excited about the work that's been done moving forward. So if you have questions or thoughts, or maybe you know colleagues at other institutions that want to partner with us here at ASU like we have with your institutions, feel free to connect with myself or anyone else from my team. I oversee our West Central region, and my colleague Glo oversees our Midwest East region. Or if you just want to get in contact with our team directly, you can go to the email address mypath2ASU partnerships@asu.edu. And either way, we'll be happy to serve you or any other colleagues that you may have who want to partner with us. So thanks for having some time with me, and I'll pass it over back to Anik now.
Thank you so much. We're going to share some My Path to ASU and some enrollment data with you now. I've also shared with you in the chat the Community College Resource Center website if you'd like to check out some of those really important reports. So this is what we're looking like right now for enrollment trends for transfer students that are coming into ASU. This is this is up until fall of 23. You can see that we do get a good number outside of Arizona. However, I would give the caveat that a lot of those are from online, ASU online, as most of the ASU online students do come to us from outside of Arizona. The largest in-person transfer population, of course, is from the Maricopa Community Colleges. It's right here in our backyard, and with whom we've partnered for many, many years. And then listing are the other transfer populations. You can notice that we get a good amount from University of Arizona and Northern Arizona University as well. So that's kind of interesting. So if we go on to the next slide, you can see when they're transferring into us. I really love to share this information because what you can see is that the majority of our transfers come to us in their junior year, which means if they are starting off at a community college, they are staying with you until they complete or hopefully complete or at least almost complete that associate degree before coming into ASU, because that is how our pathways were meant to be built, so that they're completing their educational goals at the community college and then moving on to us, here at ASU. And this gives you an idea of kind of where we are nationally right now. Amber Covington's team, who Patrick Emmons is a part of, they have executed over 200 partnerships. So we have over 200 partners now here with us at ASU, which we're really excited about to help to change that national trend of students not transferring when their intention was to transfer. We have almost 31,000 students on actual pathways now. We average about 740 pathway signups a month, and that's from 680 community colleges across the nation, 49 states. Over on the right, you can see some of the top 10 programs of interest for the pathways, meaning within our My Path to ASU system. So these are the students that are still studying with you all before they come on to ASU. And then with that, I will pass it off to a member of my team, Melanie Pashenik, to talk a little bit about some new things that we've been working on for marketing, promotion, and communications.
Thank you, Anik. Good morning, everybody. I'm Melanie Pashenik. I'm the Coordinator Senior with Academic Alliances. And we try to keep updating our marketing and communications as we create new partnerships with the community colleges and also with our existing partnerships. And with that, we update our co-branded materials that we have with the community colleges. And that includes marketing materials with that targeted emails. We have web assets that include co-branded graphics and joint lockups. We do co-branded social media campaigns. And we also update marketing toolkits for our partners to utilize. We also do student testimonial campaigns, and this includes video highlights similar to the ones that we showed you earlier, as well as written student stories that are published throughout our ASU News and disseminated throughout the ASU News community. Those also get shared with the community colleges. We do social media campaigns around these student stories, as well as micro testimonials. And then we also have regular resources and content that we do on a monthly basis, including a My Path to ASU newsletter that goes out to faculty and staff, as well as a My Path newsletter that goes out to prospective transfer students. We also have My Path to ASU flyers that are a great resource for not only students, but for staff that work with students as well. And it's a really great way to stay updated on all things related to transfer, things that are happening at ASU and with our partnerships. And then, of course, we have these type of trainings that we do biannually. So it's something we're always working on to keep you informed and updated, and how we can highlight your students, as well as our partnerships. And these are just some examples of the micro testimonials we've been doing that really resonate with our audience. It's a great way to showcase community college students who have transferred to ASU, who have used My Path to ASU, and how their journey has been. And so it's something that not only highlights the student, but highlights the community college as well. So we're always looking for students to highlight with these micro testimonial campaigns. We've been building social media campaigns around them, and those have been really successful, and people seem to really enjoy them. So we're always looking for community college transfer students to highlight. So if you ever know of students, please feel free to send them my way. And with that, I will pass it on to Kathy Silberman.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. I work in academic alliances with Melanie and Nick as well. And I wanted to share our College Connection webinars that are coming up. We've been doing these monthly since the beginning of the academic year, and they've been really popular. They're for academic advisors and counselors. And so anybody who works at the community college is to support transfer students. These are not really designed for students. We would never have a student leave or anything, of course, but they're a little bit more in the weeds as far as academic information goes. And so we hope that you'll join us to dive a little bit deeper into some of our academic programs. And we will be posting this slide deck and the recording after we're done. So you'll be able to get to all of these links to join us for these. I'm going to turn it over to Sierra and Carrie Ann in Academic Transfer Credit Solutions now.
Hello, I'm Sierra. I'm a specialist senior in Academic Transfer Credit Solutions, and I'll be presenting with Carrie Ann, who is a program manager. Today, we would like to review with you some of the functions of the ASU Transfer Guide. To access the Transfer Guide, please visit tcg.asu.edu. That URL is across the top of the page for your reference. And the functions we will be looking at today are the course search, My Path to ASU, the exam search, and My Transfer Guide.
Thanks, Sierra. So the first item that we're going to look at is the course search. This enables you and your students to search for existing equivalencies within the transfer guide. So you simply select the transfer institution and then course prefix and the number to locate the course in the transfer guide. And then once you do that, the ASU equivalency will display in the gray box at the bottom, as you can see on this screenshot.
And this function is My Path to ASU. So My Path to ASU can assist students in degree exploration. Students can choose an ASU major, degree type, college or school, and location, and view how coursework from their transfer institution fulfills requirements for that degree plan. This particular student would see how courses from Santa Monica College transfer into the ASU Filmmaking Practices BA.
The next functionality is the exam search, and this allows you to view how credit from examination applies to the student's record. So test types include AP, Cambridge, CLEP, DSST, and IB. It may also be helpful to note that equivalencies are dependent on the time frame the students took the test, so be aware of that as well.
And lastly, the My Transfer Guide function gives students a personalized view of their transfer to ASU. They're able to view their signed MyPath agreements as well as saved or favorited MyPaths, and they can also view any evaluation requests that they have submitted.
That's our overview, and so we're going to hand it over to Angela.
Hi, good morning. I'm with W. Carey School of Business. I'm in the admission coordinator senior with the team. So with W. Carey, we do have over 30 different business degrees. The ones that are highlighted in gold are the Bachelor of Science degrees. I do want to mention that for admission requirements, we do look at high school for these requirements to get into those programs, as well as the Bachelor of Arts degrees in the black. We also require a 3.0 or higher transfer GPA. But the two programs that I want to highlight are our newest programs, the Applied Business and Technology Solutions, so we call that BATS for short, and the Entrepreneurial Leadership degrees. These are great options for students who are not strong in math because these are non-calculus based degrees. And if we go to the next slide, I can talk through the structure of these two specific degree programs. So the highest level of math that are required for these degrees are the Math 117 College Algebra, and they still have those core business degrees as the other bachelor's degrees within WP Carey. So they are required to take, the economics, accounting, computer information systems, business statistics, and many of the upper division, but it is less math focused in these specific degree programs. They also have different admission requirements. So for transfer students, you can go to the next slide. For transfer students, we do have different transfer requirements. For the other business degrees, as I mentioned, it did require a 3.0 or higher transfer GPA. For the BATS and BELS degrees, it would require for Arizona residents 2.0 GPA or higher, and then for non-residents, it would require a 2.5 cumulative GPA. If you have any questions about these specific degree programs, I'm happy to answer any more specific questions through these, but the website does have details, and these are great options for students, especially those who may not have a strong focus in math. And I will pass it off to Erica.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Erica Mariano. I am here representing Watts College of Public Service and Community Solutions. Here at Watts, we are generating the next generation of public service leaders. Never has there been more of a need for public service leaders, not only to be prepared, but passionate for creating change in our community. And we don't just teach public service, we do it. This is just overview of all of the programs that we offer here at Watts College. But if you just go on to the next slide, we're going to focus on the social work program. So what is social work? I'll be honest, before I came to Watts, I thought it was just dealing with families and children, but that was very naive of me. So it's actually a profession that focuses on helping others function, and it focuses on individuals in their environment, so not just their presenting situation. So when you're meeting with students and they are mentioning that they want to go into counseling, or they want to help people, but they may not know what that is, or even students who may be interested in sociology or psychology, consider social work. If you dig a little deeper and ask those questions, like what is it that you want to do with psychology or sociology or communication? What essentially do you want to do when you grow up? If they express that they want to do like problem solving or advocacy, any type of resource utilization, counseling, or like any type of like group counseling, even community organization. Social work would be a great opportunity for them to be well-rounded as a generalist social work practitioner. The social work program is accredited through the Council of Social Work Education. So, so it does go through a rigorous process. Not all social work programs are accredited, so that's something to be cognizant of when meeting with students. Our social work program has been around since the 60s, so the majority of social workers, at least in the state of Arizona, are graduates and are alumni of our program. There is an embedded internship, and for students who are coming onto campus, we have a variety of different internships that they can choose from. And then for those who are actually, for right now, we do not offer it online, but stay tuned because updates are coming down the pipeline. So we'll be sure to update Academic Alliances when that changes. And then also for those students who do pursue the Bachelor's of Social Work, it does allow them to do a one-year graduate program after they graduate. So think of when they graduate in May, they walk across the stage. About 2 weeks later, they start their graduate program, and that following May, they will complete the program. The benefit of doing the graduate degree is that it does allow a little bit more doors to be opened once they sit for licensure. The BSW students can sit for licensure. They don't necessarily have to go on to a graduate program right away, but it is highly encouraged because it does open a lot more doors. Next slide, please. And then as far as the social work program, we do offer it at a variety of different locations across Arizona right now. So stay tuned for that online option. General admission requirements. So if you are meeting with students and they typically don't like math, it is general math requirement. So that's also something to be cognizant of if students are thinking of psychology, because typically psychology does require pre-cal, if not before they're admitted, at least in a requirement for them to graduate. So it's a great option for students who may be a little fearful of that math. And then again, it focuses on individuals who will helping others function in their environment, not necessarily in their presenting situation. So happy to chat more, but thank you for allowing us to present on this.
Thank you so much for that. And at this point, we're actually going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to present the second half of our webinar, which is considered more of like a training where you'll hear from lots of people, an in-depth look on My Path to ASU and how to use it with students. ATCS presented a little bit on the tool itself. We'll go into it a little more in depth, show some very short videos on it. And also hear a bit more about student communications and hear from admissions and ASU Online, which is a really important part of this training. So with that, I will pass it off to Kathy. And I think we have a question for Erica. So if Erica wants to answer that, that would be fantastic.
In the Q&A, right?
In the Q&A.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Well, while she's doing that, I'm going to be happy to share the benefits of My Path to ASU. I know you already heard some of them. So this is a great way to sum it up, to be able to share these with students. And when they say, why should I sign up for this? Students will save time and money overall with their college education when they do this, when they start with you, transfer to us using My Path to ASU, because they're following a customized course by course and term by term pathway, and they can track their progress all along the way using what's called My Transfer Guide that Carrie Ann and Sierra showed you earlier. They receive personalized communications all along the way while they're with you, so that they can be connected with us and kind of become more familiar with the resources at ASU, become familiar with deadlines, and more about the college that they're going to be part of when they transfer to ASU. They also receive invitations to online and in-person events. And they get guaranteed admission into the major of their choice when they meet all of the requirements on their pathway. So this is not a shortcut to admission, but it's a nice feeling of reassurance that if they complete everything that's on that pathway, all the courses and any additional admission requirements that are listed on that pathway, then they know that there'll be a place waiting for them here at ASU in the major of choice. And so the big URL that you want to remember and give to students when they want to either look at My Path to ASU or when they're ready to sign up for a pathway. And we, by the way, we do encourage all students when they're even considering ASU to go ahead and sign up for a pathway. It's free. They can change their major and their pathway without any problem. If they decide to transfer somewhere else, then we'll miss them, but no harm done with My Path to ASU. So we just hope that you'll encourage them to sign up early when they're considering ASU so that they have all the tools at their disposal. And so they'll, when they go to that URL, they'll get to this page and you can see that there are two buttons there at the bottom, and one is Get Started with My Path to ASU. That's when they actually want to sign up. And then on the right, the Search My Path to ASU majors. And that, as counselors and advisors, would be what you would look at so that you're exploring it, you're looking up requirements and talking things over with students with all different majors. You don't have to sign up for an account just to be able to access that information for your students. So that's great. So you don't have to sign up, but we do encourage you to have your students sign up, and then that way they get access to all those tools and the communication and so on. And so if you haven't gotten a chance to see My Path to ASU, or it's been a while, we wanted to share this little quick video with you so that you can see how the tool looks and how it works. All right, so you can see there that it's quite easy to use. Students put in where they're going to college with you. They fill in what major they want and the degree, college, and location. Those all narrow down for them so they don't have to guess on those things. They also let us know when they're planning to come to ASU and some information about themselves so we know who's signing up for what. They also acknowledge that FERPA allows our institutions as partners to share academic information on their behalf. So they have that smooth transfer and all of the benefits of My Path to ASU. And at that point, they are prompted to set up a password, and then they can get into what's called My Transfer Guide. And then they can sign in anytime to that. They can also favorite other pathways if they're considering different majors. So then they have all of those right for them when they sign in. They don't have to fill out all those fields again. And they we'll see what we just saw kind of, but it's a little bit more interactive in that students can mark classes as in progress or completed. And then there's some useful tabs at the top. So we'll take a look at that. All right, so we're just going to take a quick look at the close-up of what we just saw. These tabs across the top, like I said, are very useful. The course search really comes in handy. It's what was shared earlier in the presentation too, with the Transfer Guide suite of tools, where students can put in any course and they can see how it would transfer, and then they from there would be able to see, looking at their pathway, how it might apply to their program. If they've gone anywhere other than your institution, then that can come in really handy because your courses are going to be down that middle column, but they could put in any additional courses into the course search to see if those would meet any requirements. My Path to ASU is the tab that we're looking at. And then the exam search, as Carrie Ann said, tell students what credit they would receive for certain scores on standardized tests like CLEP and AP and IB and so on. And then Student Resources has some FAQs and other assorted tools, and that is kind of subject to change. It kind of updates every now and then. And let's see, here we go. We're going to switch over to Melanie.
Thank you, Kathy. And so one of the really great benefits for your students of signing up for My Path to ASU is that they're entered into the communications flow. And so it's a great way for your students to stay on top of important dates and deadlines. They'll start to receive communications from the university and admission services, dependent where they are in that enrollment cycle. They'll also start to receive communications from the college that they indicated on their pathway. And one of the first communications they'll receive is a welcome email from the dean of that college. So it's another great way for your students to start building that connection to their college, to start becoming involved with their college. And then they'll receive invitations to not only college events, but university events as well. So they can start feeling a part of that community even before they begin their very first semester at ASU. And then they'll also receive a welcome email from our transfer student ambassadors, who are all transfer students from community colleges themselves. And speaking of our TSAs, they serve as a really awesome support tool for your students. They act as a liaison to the university, so they're here to answer questions your students may have. They can help your students navigate the university if they're not sure who to go to, share what their transfer experience was like. And then they even host their very own peer-to-peer workshop called Fun Fridays with the ASU Transfer Student Ambassadors, which is held the first Friday of every month. And this is a really fun webinar. They develop the webinar themselves, they facilitate the webinar themselves, and it's a fantastic opportunity for your students to connect with other students who've gone through the transfer process themselves. They share what their experience was like, things they learned along the way, things they wish they had learned along the way. And it's another opportunity for your students to learn about My Path to ASU and sign up if they haven't already, but just to talk to other transfer students from community colleges who've been through that process themselves. So please have your students reach out to them if they ever have questions. And then we also encourage your students to check out our transfer student resources. And we encourage you to check out our transfer student resources as well. We have, as I mentioned earlier, a My Path to ASU flyer that's really resourceful on not only My Path to ASU, but on transfer information. And then we have many other digital transfer resources available from admission services, financial aid and scholarships, housing and residential life, Barrett the Honors College, and more. And then we also have various My Path to ASU and student highlight videos available on our own Academic Alliances resource page. And then, as I mentioned also earlier, we do various social media campaigns. So I encourage you to follow us on our social media channels. We're on all the regular ones, X, formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. It's a great way for you to stay informed on things that are happening, such as events like today. We do announcements of our new partnerships, student highlights. Again, we would love to highlight students from your community colleges. So we invite you to follow us on social media. And with that, I will pass it to Richard from Admission Services.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much, Melanie. My name is Richard Frischi. I'm the Associate Director for Transfer Recruitment in Admission Services at Arizona State University. And I'm going to show you some of the information that we present to our prospective students who are maybe visiting us on campus or are joining us virtually. And specifically, I'm representing ASU, what we call campus immersion. And so I'm responsible for the team that recruits and enrolls transfer students to mostly our metropolitan Phoenix campuses, but also some of our other physical campus locations as well. So what you're seeing here, it's kind of a jam-packed slide, and don't worry, you don't have to know every single thing on this slide. This is basically just showing you some of the really cool things that your students are going to be able to access by living in Greater Phoenix. And so just a couple of highlights that I like to point out. I don't know if any of you guys like the PBS NewsHour. I love it. I watch it like religiously every day. And in case you didn't know, the Western broadcast of the PBS NewsHour is actually based out of the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication right here at ASU's downtown Phoenix campus. In fact, I saw one of their anchors once, her name's Stephanie Tsai, when I was on a tour of the Cronkite building, and I was like, oh my God, I was like a little starstruck actually. And the cool thing is our students actually get to participate in these experiences. At ASU, not only in journalism, but for all of our majors, we really get students out into the field from day one. And Phoenix is really a hotbed of opportunity in terms of all different kinds of professions. Just another example I'll point out as well, President Biden was recently in Chandler, Arizona, about a week or so ago to announce a multi-billion-dollar grant to Intel. As you know, there is a huge effort throughout the United States to boost manufacturing capacity of semiconductors, as that is a critical piece of the supply chain for basically everything that has a computer in it, which is basically everything nowadays. And so Intel has a massive facility in Chandler. It's called their Ocotillo campus. And thanks to this new investment, they're going to be expanding those opportunities in that manufacturing capacity. TSMC is also building a huge manufacturing hub for semiconductors on the other side of the valley over near Peoria. And so the reason that a lot of these employers are choosing the Phoenix area to relocate to, in large part, that's because of the high quality talent that ASU is producing. And so our students are going to be able to get in on the ground floor of a lot of these really up and coming industries. And so your students are going to be really proud to call Phoenix home. On the next slide, I'm going to give you a little more details about our 4 metropolitan Phoenix campuses. And so these are our largest physical campuses. The largest of them is ASU's Tempe campus. And so the Tempe campus is probably the campus that has the most name recognition, right? It is our OG campus, as I call it. And so that's the campus we started with when we were originally founded in the late 1800s. And to date, that is still our most historic and largest campus with about 55,000 students, a little over 55,000 students. But that is not our only campus that we offer, right? And so one of the things I often find myself talking about in my conversations with students is that yes, you can absolutely get a big, busy campus environment at ASU if that's something that your students are looking for. But that's not the only experience that's available at ASU. We do also have other campuses throughout the metropolitan Phoenix area that offer really unique experiences. Experiences where you're going to get the same academic quality and access to the same resources, but not necessarily the same size or the same feel as the Tempe campus, because not all students, there really is no kind of one size fits all campus for the student experience. And so we really customize our campuses to be uniquely tailored to different student experiences, right? And so our downtown Phoenix campus is our second largest campus by student population. It is right in the heart of downtown Phoenix. There really is not much of a boundary between campus and the broader community. And that's really by design, because a lot of the degrees that we have there at the downtown Phoenix campus, like social work, for example, it requires our students to take what they're learning in the classroom and actually go out and apply it in the community, right? And so it doesn't make sense for those programs to be kind of walled off somewhere, right? We want our students to be really embedded in the community. And so students that are looking for large, urban environments are going to be really happy at either our Tempe or downtown Phoenix campuses. But then we do also offer campuses for students looking for maybe a smaller, tight-knit environment, where everybody kind of knows each other, maybe more like a liberal arts college kind of feel to it. And so we do offer those experiences at our Polytechnic and West Valley campuses as well. The Polytechnic campus has around 5,800 students, and the West Valley campus has around 5,000 students. And so there really is something for everybody at ASU, and we strategically place each of our programs on whichever campus is going to maximize a student's opportunity in that major. And so I know this is kind of a jam-packed slide as well. Obviously, I don't need to go into every single thing on here, but this is really just to highlight that some of our other locations beyond the Phoenix area. And so some of these are full-fledged campuses. For example, ASU at Lake Havasu is a full-fledged campus that has, housing and dining and student services and stuff like that, where students can take kind of their entire degree there. And then we have other campuses that are kind of hybrid situations where they're taking some of their classes maybe online, but then doing extracurricular activities on campus. And so that would include some of our ASU local locations, for example. We have ASU local locations at our California centers, Long Beach, California, Yuma, Lake Havasu, and so on. And so this is really just to kind of give you a sense of how large ASU's footprint is. And this is why we do so much national outreach, right? Because we understand that not every single student that's interested in ASU is going to want to pack up their life and move to Phoenix. And the cool thing is they don't necessarily have to do that with ASU. We also have our massive online camp. I'll let our online experts talk about that. I won't steal their thunder, but really ASU, there is something for every student at ASU. And so that's why we're here talking to you and making sure you're aware of all the wonderful opportunities available for your students. So now I'm going to get into some of our online tools and resources that are going to help your students navigate their transfer process. And one of the first things that a student's going to need to do when they decide to transfer to ASU or any university is decide, what the heck do I want to major in, right? And at ASU, we have over 400 undergraduate degree programs, which is a bit of a daunting number. I get that. And so we have some online tools that can help students figure out exactly what they want to major in and then get in-depth, detailed information about any single program that they're interested in at ASU. And so I always recommend that students start with our degree search, and that's at degrees.asu.edu, where students can get comprehensive information about any one of our degree programs, including major map, program description. A lot of our majors even have promotional videos to show you what life is like in that major. You can see career opportunities, study abroad opportunities, admission requirements and steps to apply for that program. There's even a helpful link to My Path to ASU for each of those programs, where students can not only sign up for the program, but also just generally see how their credits might transfer into that major. And then, of course, contact information for the department itself, in case students ever want to do kind of a deeper dive and talk to someone that's directly with that office. But what if a student has no idea where to start? Right? Well, we've got tools to help them in that case as well. First of all, they shouldn't feel bad if they're undecided. That was absolutely the case for me when I was in college. I changed my major 2 or 3 times and really stressed my parents out the whole time. But you know what? I ended up being fine. And at ASU, we really encourage students to explore and find the major that's going to really fit them the best. And so they don't have to do that on their own. We have some tools, really innovative tools that can help them figure out what they want to do. One of them is our Me3 quiz, which is it's a very short and pretty fun quiz. To be honest, I've taken it myself, where it's going to present you with 60 different sets of images. And these images are going to depict certain workplace settings. And then students are simply going to pick the images that they like the most, right? So maybe one image is a person working in a lab, another image is someone teaching in front of a classroom, right? And it's going to present you with a bunch of images like that at different workplace settings. All students have to do is pick what they like the most. And then there's this fancy algorithm that's kind of beyond my understanding, but basically it takes the student's responses and then matches that student with careers and associated majors that might interest them at ASU. We also have similar quizzes to help students find their campus, Like I had mentioned, each of our campuses offers a unique student experience. And so our campus fit quiz will ask students what they're looking for from their campus experience and match them with the campus that best fits them. And then we also have this really cool experience quiz. I would recommend that all of you actually take this if you're interested. It's kind of like a persona quiz where you answer some questions about kind of what your college experience, what you look for in your college experience, and it'll actually assign you kind of a fun persona based on what you're looking for. For example, when I took it, I was labeled as a focused futurist, which doesn't surprise me because basically our focused futurists are very much like, you know, getting down to business, cut to the chase. I'm here to get something done. And they're very ambitious, very future focused, not a lot of fluff or frill or anything like that. And I love that, right? We also have other types like, you know, the cheerleader or the social butterfly, stuff like that. And so we really like to help students personalize their experience and really find their niche at ASU. So moving on, I want to talk about some of the financial resources that will be available to students at ASU. We certainly want to be very transparent about what this is going to cost our students when they come to ASU. And it might seem ironic, but I actually don't have a slide on here that's going to talk about tuition. And that's because not every student is going to pay the same tuition. Right? We don't want students paying for things that they're not using. And so ASU has differential tuition structures based on what, where, and how a student is studying. Right? So an Arizona resident who's studying at the downtown Phoenix campus in the social work program is going to pay a different tuition and fee structure than, say, an ASU online student who's coming from out of state studying engineering. Right? And so rather than giving you a general number that may not apply to all of your students, I really want to drive your students to our tuition estimator, where it's going to ask information for that student to get them a personalized tuition estimate that's actually going to apply to them. And then, of course, we've got financial resources, including help for the FAFSA, scholarships, and student employment, all of which are great opportunities for students to offset that cost of attendance. I want to talk about Raise Me as well. Raise Me is a micro scholarship program that's actually not unique to ASU. Some other universities participate in it, but ASU was one of the first to participate in Raise Me. And basically the gist of this is that students can stack micro scholarships for everyday achievements up to $2,000 at ASU. So they're smaller in dollar amount than traditional scholarships, but they're also easier to get than some of those other traditional scholarships. And so that's just one of the ways that ASU is innovative in bringing those costs down for our students. Another way that we do that is the Western Undergraduate Exchange Program. So this specifically applies if you're coming from one of the states that's highlighted in maroon here. So this is for students coming from the Western US. So about 100 of our 400 degree programs are eligible for the WUI program, which allows students to pay 150% of in-state tuition instead of the out-of-state tuition, which is going to save students more than 10 grand per year in annual tuition and fees. And so that's definitely something that I recommend for students coming from the Western US. And so I've got just a couple of more slides here to talk about what does the actual admission process look like. And so on the next slide, you're going to see an infographic that lays out the transfer admission requirements. And I don't necessarily have time to go into it in super long detail, but really the gist of this is that a student, with very few exceptions, a student is directly admitted into their program of choice as long as they are meeting the admission requirements that you see on this screen. And so these requirements are going to be based on how many transferable credits a student has completed after high school. Now, if a student is taking My Path to ASU, which obviously we encourage for all of our students coming from community college, then we're going to want to try to push them to that last point there of getting an associate degree. Now, we don't necessarily require that in order to transfer, but we very highly encourage that to transfer because there's really a huge financial incentive to maximizing those credits at the community college and minimizing the credits at the university where tuition is much higher to help reduce that overall cost of the degree. And so as we've mentioned before, when a student is meeting those admission requirements, they're directly admitted into their program. We're not going to make them compete for a spot or anything like that. And that's just one more kind of uncertainty that students don't have to worry about when they're transferring to ASU, and we're very proud of that. And so on the next slide, I'll just very briefly go over the steps to apply. They're very simple, right? It's 5 easy steps. You submit your application, You pay your application fee, you send your official transcripts, you activate your ASU, My ASU student portal, and then you complete your FAFSA, right? That's not required for admission, but obviously we very highly encourage that. And then once a student completes all those steps, we can typically turn around an admission decision within about 2 to 4 weeks. We don't really have any hard deadlines for admission at ASU. We use a rolling admission process instead because we want to be flexible and allow students to transfer whenever makes sense for them. And so we'll turn around that decision. If they're meeting their requirements, they can expect to be admitted. And then we're going to get out of their way in terms of, and as far as admissions is concerned, and we're going to let them focus on their degree program and their studies. And then lastly, before I switch over to our ASU Online colleagues, I just want to highlight our visit website, visit.asu.edu. Both you and your students are more than welcome to visit campus if you ever find yourself in the Phoenix area. Go to our website and you're more than welcome to schedule either a self-guided or guided campus tour. We have some transfer day programs happening in May that we're really excited about. And then even if you can't make it to Phoenix or your students can't, we have some fabulous virtual tours and virtual programs that they can take advantage of as well. All right, so with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues with ASU Online. Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, I'm Katie Miller-Beganis. I'm the Assistant Director for Recruitment and Enrollment for ASU Online. So we're just going to go over some of the resources that we have for our online students. So currently we have over 300 plus degrees that are offered at ASU Online. I think we have 60 new degrees that are launching in the fall. So just to say that they are always growing and adding new programs that are going to be offered. The faculty is the same for ASU Online as it is for campus. So students have the benefit of learning from our top research faculty, people who are top in their field with the flexibility of staying wherever they are. Or even if they are local, we still have a lot of local ASU Online students because it really works with working families in particular. We have flexible start dates. So what that means is we have 6 start dates a year. So each semester for ASU Online is split into 2 7.5-week sessions. The summer is 2 6-week sessions. So what that means is that you can start at any of those times. Some grad programs might have some restrictions, but we're talking about your transfer students. So undergrad, so they can apply so for any of the A or B sessions. So that allows for great flexibility. So if they're finishing in May, they can actually start either in May here or July, usually late June, early July is our second half of our summer session. So huge flexibility with our online programs. And we'll talk a little bit more about resources that we have. So students still have tons of access to what we have to offer at ASU. They have the library, career services. They're still able to do things like study abroad. There is online tutoring available, success coaching, which we're going to talk about more specifically later. There are counseling services. That's something I want to point out that's huge. Our 360 Life services is something that they can access. We have our student accessibility and inclusive learning services if you have any students who need accommodations, military support, our honors college, our Barrett Honors College, I think just in the last couple of years has now included our online campus. So students have that opportunity to be part of that as well. Plus many student groups, student engagement, student clubs are being added all the time. So lots of opportunity for students who maybe aren't able to come to Arizona, aren't able to have the traditional experience, but still want that engagement. So we have tons of individualized support from the moment that the student decides that they want to transfer to ASU. We have our enrollment team. So our enrollment team works with students from their first point of contact, and every student gets their own individual enrollment coach, and that person is there to talk through programs that they need to find out about the goals that the student wants to achieve. Again, we have a ton of programs. It's a lot to put on you, to put on one student to figure out what is the right fit for them. So your enrollment coach can help a lot with that. They can help identify what obstacles might be in your way. How can we overcome those? Application support, so working through what transcripts are needed, financial aid, the entire admissions process. You have this point person from, again, that moment of first interest and inquiry all the way until even a couple weeks after classes start. They'll stay with you before you get moved to the success team, which again, I'll talk about in a bit. Katie, we're seeing that we have a black box popping up that I can't see, but other people can see.
I can
So
see
I'm
it.
gonna-
I have no idea what it is.
So sorry, I'm gonna stop the share and then see if maybe a
Okay.
notification popped up that's blocking your slides.
Thanks.
Hold on, please. Okay. Doesn't look like it, so we're gonna just go back. Thank you. Yeah. Here we go.
Now I see a little box.
Is it gone now?
Oh, now it's gone. Yeah.
Hallelujah. Okay.
There we go. All right. Okay, so success coaches. So I mentioned this before. So again, you start with our enrollment team, you have your personal enrollment coach and enrollment coordinator help you get started for classes, and then everyone gets a success coach. So this is sort of a advisor, motivator. Your success coach is with you from when you start classes until graduation. So each student has their own sort of cheerleader. They can go to their success coach as often as they want. They can set up regular appointments if that's what helps them. Sometimes they want to meet monthly, every couple months. Time management is a huge thing for our online students, getting connected to resources, knowing where to go. So you always have someone to go to as an online student. Orientation is something that's offered. This is a no credit free course for our transfer students to take prior to classes starting. So part of it is going through Canvas, which they might be really familiar with, but some is going to go through modules on time management. Again, huge, especially if they're not used to being an online student. An introduction to ASU and ASU Online. And then you can see here that we actually have different orientations for different populations. So we have a general for general transfer students. Any military students have their own. So that's also going to go into military benefits and resources that we have for ASU Online. And then we have ones for some of our corporate partnerships that I'll touch on later, Uber and Starbucks. So speaking of Starbucks and Uber, ASU Online has many dozens of corporate partnerships, and we're just going to highlight two briefly. College is expensive. Moving from community college to four-year university is going to be expensive. We can't deny that, right? But these are just two of several opportunities that are available. Starbucks covers tuition if they're working 20 hours a week or more at a corporate location. And we could see we've had already 25,000 graduates. Everything is covered except for books and supplies. So great opportunity if you have students who are concerned about how to finance their education, they can start looking for Starbucks job now, and the ASU Online is going to be covered for them. Similarly, we have Uber. Uber also covers everything except for books and supplies. They do have to have 2,000 rides or deliveries. So this is Uber. Uber Eats would work for this. But again, you might have transfer students who are early in the process and they're like, hey, I need like a side hustle. Let's go sign up for Uber. They get that 2,000 rides or deliveries. They can continue doing that and they can get their degree ultimately paid for by their employer. So that's pretty awesome.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Katie. And thank you to all of our presenters this morning. We do have a few minutes left here. If any of our attendees would like to ask some questions in the Q&A area, please go ahead and do that now. We're more than happy to stay on for you for a couple minutes. Other than that, please do feel free to email us at any time. It's just our name, so it'd be anique.petit@asu.edu and so forth. So we hope that this information was helpful for everybody. I know we're still enjoying some cool weather here in Arizona. We have the summer coming up real soon. It's going to get real hot, but it sure is nice during the school year here for the students. So hope to see some of your students in the future, either in person or online, of course. We'll give it one more minute, see if we have any other questions. Right. Doesn't look like it. So thank you to everyone, our national partners who have joined us this morning for the spring training. We hope that it was helpful for you and resourceful and informational, all of those things. We wish you a very nice rest of your day. We'll see you again sometime soon. Forks up. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.